All right, we're recording. Hello, everyone. Today is July 11th, and that's the official community meeting for Velero. As with that, just please follow the code of conduct, which boils down to be nice to each other. With that, I'm going to paste into the chat the community minute notes. So it will be super cool if you feel like adding yourself there. And with this, let me open them, and I can see many folks added themselves, which is great. And Scott added some peer reviews and Shubham and Ansho. So I think it doesn't make sense I to share that. So I'm gonna get one by one as the time of adding it. So Scott, do you want to get going with the peer reviews?
Yeah, I don't. Just nothing specific to discuss. Just mentioning that that's kind of my participation this week. Is I did review several PRs. I didn't have any other, specific development progress. Do expect to get back to my end-to-end testing for the async plugin soon. But I've been working on OADP issues this week beyond the PR reviews. And I do have a discussion topic later at the end, but as well. But
yeah, same case for me. I was reviewing data more PRs.
Do you want to share something specific, Shubham? Or?
Yeah, I think we should be good to test the backup restore part of the data more feature now. So I think data upload and data download controllers are also done. So that's the progress.
Yeah, but do you mean do you need any input from anyone? Like, do you
No,
want to do
that
like
was
the
status
live?
update for them.
Okay, cool. And then Ansho.
Yeah, before I jump into the status updates, right, maybe just to quickly check with Shubham, he said that backup restore is both ready with data mover. Do we have now any user-facing documentation on how to try it out, or is it still?
No, it's still in progress, Anshul, like
Okay.
not totally done.
Yeah, actually, a quick point there. If you just scroll down a little bit, Orlin in the status, right in this document, HackMD document, I saw that the Chinese team updated clear instructions on how to test this data mover support. Actually, I see that you're not sharing the screen. Orlin,
I'm not. I can share that. Give me a sec. Or you can share that if you want. I don't mind.
Actually, I joined from iPad, so if you can share that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will. Give me a sec. I hope you can see that.
So we can. If you scroll down to the previous status meeting, the Chinese call, and I've seen they updated detailed instructions on how to test. Yeah, go down, scroll down a little bit. Yeah, this is instructions to try the CSS snapshot. Right, at the Anshul, this is what you're asking, right?
Yeah, this is great. Thanks.
Right. Yeah, I checked this morning because I was talking to our team in-house because we also wanted to test, and I was pointing them to this stuff. So we'll do that as well.
Yeah. Great, thanks. I think we can scroll up to the agenda.
Okay. So, Anshu, do you want me to stop sharing and so you can walk us through this?
I think I can just speak. I don't really need to share. So this adding support for multiple volume snapshot class in the CSA plugin. I have raised in the community meeting for around 3-4 weeks, and finally now the design PR is merged, and we need one more approver reviewer for the actual implementation PR. So if anyone has some time, maintainers, please go and check it out. Second is the JSON substitutions PR that I had basically given a walkthrough on the design change in the last community meeting. So just a heads up that the implementation PR is up now, and also the design PR, the changes that whatever had come in, I have pushed those as well. Few folks are already reviewing is what I see from the comments on the PR, but just pitching it for the broader community to take a stab and start reviewing this PR, because these are good features. Any insights you can give, any better suggestions on refactoring the code would be really helpful. So yeah, again, a request for review on these PRs. The design PR is also not yet merged for JSON substitution. So yeah, please do check that out as well. It should mostly be clear enough for you folks. Yeah, that's it. Nothing to present right now. Thanks, Olin.
Thank you. Anyone, you want to comment on this one, or do you need anything specific more from Anshul, or we can move on to the next one? No, okay, then Raghu, you're next.
Okay, yeah, before I just go ahead with mine, I think Anshul's PR for restore substitution, right? We have seen at least 2 users ask for features in last week alone. So I guess people are really waiting for this. So it should be one of the good features in 1.12. Anyway, so going back to the R label selectors, right? So I just listed here because we started working on this, and in fact, there's a PR from Cloudcasa from Nilesh about this. I've seen one user ask for this few weeks back, and another one came back last week. Essentially, people want support for R label selectors from the Velero CLI. So the backup CR supports this, the restore CR supports it, but the command doesn't. So we're working on it. And yeah, the PR is going through some comments. I've seen that. That's pretty much it about this. I have a few other things, but we can talk that when it comes to discussion. Yeah.
I think we can jump straight to discussion. That's more, that thing over here is more like a reminder for me to fix the reminders after the call. Yeah, so yeah, you can go ahead. I'll stop sharing so you can.
Oh no, actually, if you can share that would be good. I just want to talk about the list. I don't have to share anything. We just need pointer to that. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Right. So the first thing is about 1.11.1 release date. I've seen at least 2-3 people asking for it, and I think we are waiting for some Golang fix, right? So is there any date? I haven't really checked the Golang issue itself. I guess we're waiting for some CVE to be fixed in 1.20.6 or something. But at least 2-3 people asked for the release date because there are a couple of important fixes. One, the backup status that we fixed, and the other one that I listed here is this user is mysteriously seeing errors in the S3 bucket region API. I think Lyndon added a log message because the error was not being logged, and he added a log fix. And these guys wanted to try it in their environment. So because the 1.11.1 is not there, so what I did is built an image, ourselves, and I gave this user the image. So they said they're using it, and they'll get back if they see. But in general, the main problem here is the earlier 1.11.1 is released, the better, I guess. And I don't know, Scott or anybody else who is attending the other calls, maybe is there any idea, any time frame in mind for 1.11.1 release?
Yeah, I don't have any specific insight. I also know there's another bug in 1.11.1 that we've seen at least 2 people on the Red Hat side interested in us getting. There's a bug fix on the REST at Copia side where we fail a backup if a volume, if a pod with a bounded volume is not running. And instead of skipping the volume, we fail. And there's a fix for that as well in 1.11.1. But no, I don't actually know the specific, what the current exact release date is. I don't know if Orlin knows or not.
Yeah,
I haven't checked with Pradeep on this one, to be honest, so I don't know.
Right. I mean, the comment I have seen in one of the issues, I think it is 6454, is we are holding 1.11.1 because of 1.20.6 Golang to fix some CVEs, right? So, I mean, probably I'll go ahead and check that further. I think it'll be important. It is important for us to release 1.11.1, I think, because of a couple of 2-3 important fixes. Okay, so the other one, yeah, can you scroll down a little bit? Yeah, the CSI plugin changes, right? So Scott, thanks for merging that CSI timeout PR. That is in the main branch of the CSI plugin repo, right? But that is not ported. So I don't know the procedure for releasing the plugins in between. I mean, the procedure for the main release is kind of clear. I see labels, release 10, 1.11, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're not as consistent with the plugin release because sometimes there's not any changes. When for example the 1.11.1 comes out, if there's a plugin that doesn't have any changes, we wouldn't release it. But I think if there are fixes we want in there, maybe create a GitHub issue to say, can we backport this to the release that corresponds to 1.11? so that we can then, because I imagine when we release 1.11.1, we should be able to release a plugin that has a fix, at the same time or similar. So I would put a GitHub issue to backport it, and then ping on Slack to open the discussion just to find out, because I'm actually not sure right now, again, whether we plan to release all of the plugins again with 1.11.1, kind of an updated version for those as well. If there are Golang related issues, maybe we want to anyway for all those for that reason. I don't know that CV affects the plugins or not. It might if it's a Golang level issue. So if we're planning a release for those, we definitely want to get that backported. So I would create a GitHub issue to backport it to 1.11. Sorry,
Okay.
to the release corresponding to 1.11.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but whatever that release is, we could do a patch release to that as well, probably.
Okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And another thing that I wanted to bring up is, I've seen a question from one user probably, or more than one. This is the support for, I think they opened this discussion in the context of Google GKE, that's they call the retention policy for the buckets, right? But in general, that's a general issue for all the cloud providers where object locks are set on the bucket, so you won't be able to modify any objects. And it seems the Velero starting from 1.11 has to modify. So I think I forgot the name, but he's trying to add this to the documentation that Velero will not work with 1.11 if you have object locks or retention policy on that. But I'm afraid that more and more people will use that, especially if you're an enterprise customer, right? So you will put some retention policies. So I think at least in the context of 1.13, we should probably discuss that, how to support Velero backups to buckets which have these features. Object lock is the term used by AWS, but that's there for others as well. GKE and Azure both have a similar functionality, and definitely more people will use that. So we'll need to figure out how Velero can support that. I mean, you can't modify the object, so you have to do something else in that case. So it may not be easy change, but I think it will be an important thing and maybe something that we can discuss in the context of 1.13, right? I've seen recent message from somebody asking for any suggestions for 1.13 roadmap. So that's why I thought I'll mention this. Okay, that's about it from my side. Yeah.
Yeah, and sure, go ahead. You raise your hand. So I suppose
Just
you
a
have a comment
thought.
on this one.
Yeah, so it's a thought right ago. I don't really think we can support these scenarios. It is clearly an unsupported scenario which we should just mark and move ahead. I don't really see how you envision solving this. It's just a support matrix thing. We just don't support it, and yeah, I mean, I don't really see.
No, that's easy to. I mean, we can easily update the document. That's happening, right? And I'm reviewing the documentation PR, but I don't think it will be a long term. It's not a sustainable position, because if you're a small shop, maybe you won't use this. But anytime you get to, I mean, we have this experience with Cloud Casa as well, and we support object locks. So maybe we can help a little bit there from the design perspective. But once you go to decent sized customer, I'm almost positive that they are going to have some policies on the bucket. I mean, they want to have control, especially from legal perspective. They want to prove that the data cannot be removed before a given retention date, right? There are legal requirements in some cases, so they will definitely have that. I know it's challenging from a design perspective. You can't modify in place, but there are workarounds. So we should probably talk about separately, but it can be done. Like I said, it's not going to be simple. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? This one, or we can move to the next one.
Actually, I can answer Scott's question. Sorry for jumping one step ahead in this discussion topic. Scott is asking, has anyone tested volume mode block support? And interestingly, we tested it maybe 1 or 2 weeks back, and yes, file system backups are not supported. if it is block type PVs, it won't work.
Right.
I don't know the latest code part.
And I figured that. I just
So,
and there's even a question, does it even make sense for block volume to use a file system method on it? I don't know if there's a way to even kind of hack it to make it work. Part of the reason I'm wondering is specifically on the data mover side, because that's using Copia behind the scenes. Because the issue is if you have block files, if you're using snapshots, for example, you're fine. But the problem with the snapshots is, it's not portable to other providers, and also ideally something like the data mover solution, we'd find a way to work with block mode, but I just don't know if that's feasible with the current design.
yeah, no, we have actually some information in this regard because we added that support to Cloudcasa supports block PVs.
Yep.
You can take a snapshot of that and then you can copy of it, but we are using Copia on that. So for Copia, it's just like a file, but obviously it's not optimal because it's going to read through entire block PV, and even though it may not back up everything because a lot of blocks may be 0 on this device, but still the read is going to be a lot. So it's not ideal, but we still added support. It works. The reason we did that is because KubeVirt, right? In the KubeVirt world.
Yes. That's in
Right.
KubeVirt is in fact the use case is what it leads to my question in the first place. So you're saying you've actually used Copia with KubeVirt block file systems, and it works, but not in an ideal way.
That is correct. It works. Yeah, we can back up block PVs just like you're backing up a file.
Okay.
Can you
It
send
works,
us
Great
that?
but again,
information. So it sounds like we might be able to make this work within Velero, Copia, and Data Mover, but it would just require some changes.
I think so. Yeah, it should work because the latest design, the 1.12 design, is very similar to what we are doing in Cloudcasa already. So it should definitely work. But I'm really hoping for a CBT kind of solution, that Kubernetes work group is discussing forever at this point. I mean, maybe more than a year, probably more than that. I understand it's not an easy thing to do because they're worried that, the CBT data can be big and how best to expose that information to all the backup providers. I haven't attended their calls in the last few times, so I don't know the latest status. I don't know if there is anybody here who is attending the work group, data production work group calls. Maybe they have more, latest information on that. But that is a good solution, right? Ultimately, you need a CBT to do the backup. You don't want to read entire device and then decide what blocks to backup.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that.
By the way,
just one point. Yeah, one point to add: the current restrict backup is because it accesses the files under pod volume directory on the host, right? So the volume directory for block PVs is different, and that is not
right.
accessed.
Yeah. And then there's actually an old GitHub issue where someone tried this with Rustic before we had Copia, and that was one of the things mentioned. So I imagine with Data Mover and Copia to support this, we'd have to check that if it's blocked, then we'd have to look somewhere else for that. So that would be one of the changes needed to support that use case.
With the data mover, the snapshot data mover, do you still look into the?
Well, see, the thing is the snapshot data mover, the way, because I mean the CSI plugin by itself just creates a snapshot, but the way the data mover for 1.12 is working is that we take that snapshot, we create a temporary PVC, load the snap, with that snapshot is the volume source. Then we use Copia to copy that into the S3 bucket. Because the point of Data Mover is to copy that data into the bucket in a portable way, so you're not dependent on the particular snapshot provider. So you can do a backup, from an EBS CSI file system, and then do a restore to a completely different provider in a different cluster.
Right.
So because of that, the Data Mover copies all that snapshot data using Copia into the bucket of the object store provider.
Right.
So
that
that's
is exactly what we do as well. We create the PVC of the snapshot as the data source, right? And then, you have access to either files in the PV in case of file system. In case of blocks,
Right.
you need to access the device in your temporary pod, mover pod.
Yep. Right. So Data Mover works that way. Basically, the big difference between Data Mover and just using the Copia file system backup directly is the Copia method with Velero copies off the live volume from the pod is mounting, and whereas in the Data Mover case, we use the snapshot to
Right.
mount a volume, and then copy it from there. So we're not touching the live volume, that the application's using.
Yeah. So if you can test, and even we will do the same thing. And if there is some code changes needed, because we did this already in Cloudcasa, maybe this is something that we can support. Yeah, we can help with.
That would be great if you want to look at that too. Like I said, that's something that somewhat we need to look at anyway. But if and there's really two places where, again, I imagine the changes are pretty similar. There's the Copia case for file system backup, and then there's the data mover case with that temporary volume. And basically, like you said, one of the changes is we have to look at where the volume is. It's going to be mounted. The block is going to be in a different location versus the file system. And then there's whatever other changes are needed to use Copia on that.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll check.
And I'd say at this point, since the intention is to deprecate Restic, relatively soon, I would say don't worry about Restic support for this. It's probably not worth the effort at this point.
True. Yeah, right. There's no point in adding support in the old path. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to add one more thing. I know you guys are talking about object lock. The object lock support that we added was on top of Copia, not Restic.
Right.
So that's another one that I think if
and that's fine because again, yep.
Yeah. Anyway, just finding out that.
That's good to know. Because and again, from a Velero point of view, Restic matters for two reasons. One, because that's also built into the data mover solution for 1.12, and two, from a file system backup non-data mover point of view, Restic is the way forward. Copia is the way forward anyway. We're trying to not do additional work on Restic because the intent is once Copia is, well tested and well used, to deprecate Restic and then eventually drop support for it. So, adding support for block volumes, for example, makes a lot of sense for Copia. I don't see the value in spending the effort on Restic, even if it was possible, and maybe it's not possible. So again, because it's soon to be deprecated, I'm fine with just saying we're never going to support block volumes on Restic.
I think Satya was talking about object lock, which is the previous topic for Copia. Slightly different topics, right? The object lock we implemented using Copia. So blocks is a slightly different topic. Yeah, just want to clarify. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. We're saying the same thing though. For both of these, I think we should just target Copia and forget about Restic.
By the way, there was a comment from Sean. If someone can send that use case or the source code, but I'm not sure to which exactly source code or use case he's referring to. Sean, can you specify?
Yeah, it would be great if we could see some code around how you implemented the block on top of the block copy on top of Copia.
Oh, I guess that question is for us, right? Yeah. Let me.
You're seeing how you did it, or if you want to submit a PR to add that to Velero, directly, that'd be fine too. Either way, it's something we're definitely interested in on the Red Hat side for the same use case, the KubeVirt case. So, whatever assistance you guys could help, whether it's showing us how you're currently doing it, then we can work it into Velero, or providing a PR. Either way, right. Just kind of helping along, because again, that way we can get native support for this into Velero so that it's working there directly.
Sure. I think the quickest way is obviously to give a description of how we are doing it now, and then depending on how it goes, we can even look at the code and see how we can add it. So sure. I'll contact you.
And it may be creating a GitHub issue to Velero with this information might be one way to do it, or you could just provide a link in Slack. At some level, the most important thing is just, let's see how this is done. Let's get some information. The exact way of communicating that is less important to me at this point.
Sure, will do.
Hey, Sean, you're with Red Hat team as well? Just checking.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. So we'll reach out and we'll schedule something.
All right, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Thank you. and we jumped one topic, but Mateus, do you want to share your ideas for automation of the changelog?
Hi everyone. I saw that I have an idea for that, but I saw that to do that I would have to change a lot of files in Velero. So I was wondering how we could talk about this if I open an issue or we just discuss this. The idea is basically instead of when someone proposes a PR to add a changelog file, after the PR, the CI would commit on top of that on the markdown file, for example, of the unreleased change logs with, for example, PR number, user, and the PR title.
I'm not sure if I get it. Do we have someone from?
Right now, the
so-called
process that's required for submitting a PR is to either provide a changelog entry for that PR or to add a label saying changelog not required. It sounds like the proposal here would be to try to automate the actual changelog entry from the commit message rather than having to put it in directly. I actually have no idea whether that's something that was considered in the past or not. I do know that we do have that changelog not required label because sometimes you make a commit that doesn't really need to be in the changelog. You're fixing a typo, you're changing so certain minor changes don't need changelog entries, and the way we handle that now manually is either to add the changelog file or to add the changelog not required label. I imagine that would still be consistent with an automated system as you're talking about, because if the changelog not required label was on the PR, then you wouldn't add one, I would imagine.
We
yeah,
can do that, for example, if we just change documentation code, then we don't trigger this job, for example.
Right, exactly.
We can do some rules like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, the rules, but if there's a way to make use of the label, because sometimes there's a change even in the code that because maybe you're fixing a typo in a comment or something like that, so you don't need a changelog entry, even though it's changing a Go file. And again, the manual system handles that by just putting the label on there. So I'd imagine if we were automating this, we would need some similar way of manually indicating, hey, don't create a changelog entry for this PR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be done.
I have another
question.
question.
I don't know if the other maintainers have this is kind of a system that's been in place since before I was on the team. So I don't really know how this kind of came about or what discussions they had around, doing it this way versus another way. I don't really have any insight on that.
Yeah, I'm missing that information as well. That's what I ask if someone from the so-called release team is on the call, so we can have some insights on this one. But I've seen and I've implemented that to other projects to have the automation release notes, so we can introduce like, I don't know, 5 labels or something, which we add to the PR, and then the release notes are automatically built based on these labels. That we can work on this one. But I think we currently use this kind of something like that. So, but I can comment. Someone else wanted to add something. Give me.
Right, looking at the change logs, it seems that it's just going to the unreleased, right, folder, and then it's just updated once the release happens. So
right, I believe there's a script that runs at release time that takes all those unrelated all those unreleased change logs, builds them into a change log entry, and then deletes all those unreleased change logs files. I do believe that they use a script to generate the changelog for the release from those files.
Yeah. So Mateus, the question here for you is, in your idea, would you like to create yet another PR for any PR that requires changelog, or commit this code automatically, or do this during the release process, so help release engineering to crawl the data and generate the changelog when it's required? What's your idea here?
So what I thought about was to take out the step of generating the changelog. So after each PR, the changelog would be already well formatted. So you just have to copy paste to the release of the GitHub.
But where it will be stored?
can be in the same folder, but instead of one file for each user or each PR, it'd be one folder with all the formatted string. For example, PR title, PR number, and user that created it.
That will generate a new PR, or within the PR that someone.
No. For example, I merge the PR. After this PR is merged, the CI will commit above my PR just this on that folder the string for the changelog.
So it will go outside of any PR, right? Just a force match.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this will not cause the problems with other forks and so on. Just
yeah. I mean, if that results in a separate commit for each PR, then the when you do get log, your commit history is going to have twice as many entries, one for changelog and one for the. In other words, after PR is merged, if we then, I mean, I suppose if you had an action that modified the PR and then or added to the basically where when you merged, it would squash those, then you'd be fine. But what we wouldn't want a situation where all those commit changelog additions are separate commits in the release in the commit history.
For now, I think
another idea, if someone is just showing this, is to actually create an automated draft for the release, which will add those entries, and this happens outside of any commit. So each commit that requires changelog will update the draft release, and out of the draft release, the changelog can be created during the new release process. And this way we skip the changelog folder and we store everything as the GitHub draft release here.
I was trying to share exactly this one. We do that for another project called Harbor. So that's functionality out of GitHub. You have that template for the release notes. That's exactly what you. I'm sorry, I see your name just as Miji. That's what we do for other projects as well. So we kind of skip the whole process of getting all the information for all the PRs as we parse. That is done by GitHub automatically. So, but Mateusz, do you mind if you open an issue for discussion? So the other folks from VMware can actually give some more detailed information why it was done like this, and maybe we can take a decision of improving it with some new tooling, even from GitHub.
So I'll also talk to Michał so we can put both our ideas in the issue.
I feel like the changelog is kind of outdated form of telling what was changed, and it's coming from the old SCM repositories, not the current one where Git allows to add this metadata. So many projects just drop the changelog, right?
Yep. As the changelog, it was I think, yeah. If we have release notes which are pointing to the highlights and then all the other changes, I think the changelog it's not necessary to be part of the release process at all, my opinion.
Yeah, it's like the old days, CV when there was SVN.
Yeah. When the actual release was a manual action, and now yeah. So I'll suggest you if you open an issue, a discussion issue, or actually we can do that in the discussion. Let me see if we have. If you want, I can open that thing, and we can add some ideas there. Then we can vote. Yeah, okay. I'll take that. I'll create the discussion. I'll add some ideas on my side. You can add yours. Miji, you can add yours, and we can figure out if we, first of all, if we need to change something in the release process as of now, and if we want to update something on the process, what kind of approach we can get. So and update the whole thing. Right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to discourage you with the ideas. I just want to streamline the ideas a little bit so we can get involvement from other parties, which are right now doing the release. Yeah. It's not about cutting you off. Don't get me wrong. It's about getting all the information
No,
in
no,
one
no.
place. So, yeah.
I wanted to discuss it because I just don't want to open the PR with a lot of changes that don't get
No.
everyone doesn't agree. So I want to discuss first.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Do we have something else? All right, I'm gonna just a reminder here. All right, that's for me. Okay. By the way, I see many new names on our list. Is there anyone, some brave soul that want to introduce themselves? And maybe they left, I'm not sure. What's your involvement in the project? And
Okay, I can start. It's Michał. As you can see, I didn't update my name here. Michał Pryć. I work for Red Hat and I joined OADP team recently. So I'm still new to this project, Velero, and I hope to get on board with this project soon. So my contributions would be valuable rather than just fixing some linting, right? I worked for Red Hat for maybe 7 years. Now, before that, I was involved in many open source projects, including GNOME and part of Open Solaris. So that's my involvement here. Okay,
nice.
Thanks.
Nice. Welcome to the team then. Just for your information, I'm the community lead. I work at VMware. So if you have any questions around the community and how you can set up and everything, so just ping me on Slack or something. We can get the chat going and work on this one.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sachin. I'm also working at Red Hat. I'm working since a couple of years as senior QE. So yeah, I have also joined the OADP team recently.
Nice. Welcome. Are you all folks under Wes, or I'm getting the structure wrong?
I'm reporting to Wes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am in the QE team. So
yeah. I'm just trying to. It's not important at all. I'm just trying to figure out who's who within the Red Hat work. Nice stuff. Actually, it's super awkward to see Red Hat outgrowing VMware in that call, but I find this super nice anyway. So yeah. Dagger, why are you laughing? Yeah. Yeah, about that. Are you folks? I suppose, Michał, you're in Europe, in Czech, right? Czechia, or
I'm in Poland, so
are you in
close.
Poland?
Close
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry,
remotely.
I misread the accent. So sorry for that. So are you folks planning to go to KubeCon in Chicago, or no idea yet?
I think at this point, we don't expect anyone from our team to be in Chicago now.
Okay. So it's all settled for Shanghai?
We're still trying. I have not heard. I have not been told that there's been a final call on that yet. So, Wes isn't on the call, but as far as I know, a final decision has not been made.
Okay.
But I haven't been told no yet.
Yeah. I know the story. Yeah. Until we got the your talk was approved, nobody knows. Yeah. I know that.
Hey, and
yes.
have you guys already proactively approved for the visa and all that stuff, Scott? We're on standby as well. Simply because
I do know that. I guess when I saw on the KubeCon Shanghai page, you've got to be registered to get the visa document from them, and we haven't registered yet because I was waiting on the approval. But I guess I need to look at the cancellation because I know there's a point where you can cancel for a full refund. So maybe at the point now where we should register with the idea being we need to know the deadline to cancel if we're not going to be approved to go. But you know, I've definitely been thinking about that. I just haven't actually started the process yet, but I need to do that soon.
Okay. And if for some reason Shanghai doesn't happen, does it mean more Red Hat team will be in Chicago, or
that would, I'm not in charge of these things. I think that would depend on the reason for, you know, if it's not approved because Shanghai's too expensive, then, but only slightly too expensive, that maybe that means Chicago. More likely it's not approved because, hey, we don't have travel budget right now, in which case Chicago would probably be a similar situation. So I don't, but again, I don't make those decisions. I just, you know, they'll let me know that I can go or not. So I'm not really able to say for sure.
sounds good.
Tiger is pointing some tips to get the visa going. If you're registered, you can apply for visa, actually request for visa. But yeah, I think you can apply for tourist visa for Chicago, for Shanghai, for China. So not necessarily you need something from the event to apply for the visa. At least
yeah, I know the event does offer visa letters, which I guess helps the process. I don't know, but yeah, it sounds like if you're registered, then you can do that. The only thing to keep in mind is, you know, without a final approval, you know, I need to know what the deadline is for canceling registration with full refund, obviously. Which again, I know that's actually pretty late, because I know, you know, you can register, for example, and pay, and then you get your talk approval, and then you cancel the one, you know, because you get the free registration with the talk.
Yeah, no idea about the cancellation though.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can cancel immediately, because for the last KubeCon, when I registered, I forgot to use the discount code that I had available. So I canceled that, got the refund, and then re-registered, you know, with the discount code. So I know if you cancel early enough, it's a full refund. They have a policy. It's like within so many weeks, it's full refund, and then after this, it's only partial refund. But yeah, as to the question, I guess, of in terms of being more affordable, I think the actual conference fees are going to be about the same. It's more a question of, you know, it's obviously a lot more expensive for me to fly to Shanghai than to Chicago.
I suppose cost of living, if you go to the tourist areas, it can be on the expensive side in Shanghai.
Yeah, well, the big cost from here would be the actual flight cost to Shanghai is going to be significantly higher.
Yeah,
and for a long flight, Red Hat may actually have a policy to send people on business class, so that makes the price completely different. Yeah,
I've never flown farther than from here to Europe, so I don't know what the policy is for flying to Shanghai. I have not yet looked into that.
I never heard of that policy, and I did went to one conference in Shanghai, so too late.
Now you know. Now you can apply it. So. All right. Joking aside, I hope all that can work out. And the deadline for.
Sorry for that. There is a visa type F to China, to Shanghai, and this is like conference visa, right? And it's valid for 6 months from the time of issues. So I'm not sure which one did you apply, like the tourist or business, but I think I did apply for F type of visa. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mel.
And that's for Shanghai, right, Michal?
It's for entire China.
Yeah. I mean, for the Shanghai event, not for the Chicago one. Okay.
The Chicago, I think, because you're in Bulgaria, yeah. I think
yes, I am.
Now is the welfare program, the US welfare program. So I'm not sure if Bulgaria is on that as well. That you don't need to apply for visa. You're just doing this.
I have my visa, which actually expires on the day that I have to travel. I have to flight, really on the same date. So I have to apply and get renewed of my visa just to be able to get on the plane. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to check. I think they announced something, but I'm not following that. So
You just sign in on a page 24 hours or 48 hours prior to event, and that's it.
okay, thank you. I'll check that. But anyway, I'm gonna renew my visa, travel visa anyway.
One
I'll need
question.
it more than once. Yeah.
Miki is in Poland or Portland in US?
Poland, yeah.
Warsaw or
No. It's Wrocław, not
Wrocław.
Warsaw. Wrocław, yeah. Close to Czech border. So
Okay. Do you know a place called Lodz?
you would need to type it because I cannot read it.
L-O-D-Z.
It's called, yeah, Lodge.
Lodge?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Lima, Oscar, Charlie Zulu. Łódź. Okay. It's with the accent. So L is with accent and O is with accent, which spells Łódź. Of course, yeah, I do.
Okay. Because I work for Dell, and then we recently opened several new R&D center in Poland. One is Crawford, I don't remember, in the western side of Poland. And the other then we have a factory.
Do you mean Krakow?
Yeah,
No.
Krakow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kraków and Łódź. Those are two pretty big cities, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, we have a couple of guys in Warsaw and Krakow as well. So you should have a contributor summit in Poland next time.
Yeah, and that would be actually nice to at least know them if you can just point through the Slack. So maybe we'll meet on some meetup or
I'll do that.
Oh, I remember it's this one. It's a place very near to Krakow, not Katowice. I don't know how to spell.
Katowice.
Katowice. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I saw the Dell R&D center over there. They are actively hire senior engineers. So.
Nice. Yeah. So it's like 2-hour drive from my place, or 2 hour by train.
Who is having R&D in Katowice? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Dell?
That was Dell speaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Nice.
They have this economic region out there where the big companies are paying less taxes, I think, for some time. So maybe that's why. And they have quite big university centers there, so lots of engineers. Nice. So yeah, it would be great if you can just point me to the people who are involved in Velero working there. So yeah, as I said, community feeling would be great. Meet face to face.
That's great. And the European presence in the project, maybe we can do something local. Even like European local sounds funny, but yeah, there's some KCD coming up, so maybe we can meet there. Nice.
That's good. I feel like I wake up and live in Europe today.
All right. I think we don't have anything else for today's agenda. So,
Orlin, maybe I'll just introduce myself as well.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I left the floor open for introduction. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I joined last week also. I'm Daniel Gura. I'm from Red Hat. I'm managing the quality engineering of OADP and also working on Velero upstream. So some of the guys here like report as if you ask regarding the structure. So the engineers are reporting to Wes and the quality engineering is reporting to me. We have a couple of guys here. While the engineering is mostly based in the US, the quality engineering is, we have a lot of people in Europe and mainly in Israel. I'm in Israel, but we have also in Germany and Spain and some in India as well. So this is why we are joining this call. So it would be nice if any gathering will be done in Europe, so we will be able to join and participate. Actually, we sent also a couple of guys to KubeCon in Europe like a couple of months ago. That's it. We are looking forward actually to working on the quality of Velero and maybe collaborating on some tests upstream. I know that we have a quality performance team that started already participating in some talks about how to improve performance and scale of Velero in the community. So looking forward and hope we will work together and increase this area.
Yeah, and question, yeah. So you plan that QA effort to go upstream as well, or it's more like a ODP kind of for OpenShift?
Obviously, we are focusing our main responsibility is downstream, but like I do think that we need to look upstream as much as we could and participate, because as stronger the upstream, as better the downstream as well, right? So
I'm trying to convey that message to everyone involved in all my projects. Like, if you're building a product or service based on open source, just invest in it, and your product or service will be better always. That's it. Yeah. So
till now, and I hope that going forward you'll have more and more capacity. We already started reviewing some of the purely upstream features, and we will be adding. And I hope that maybe we'll start adding some tests upstream and like talking about some test procedures, whatever.
Yeah, if we can start working on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to add, if we can start adding more like tests on performance, that would be perfect for the community. I think everybody will benefit from that. So super cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, Raghu, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was supposed to say to Daniel, so you're working mainly on the manual testing, or both manual and automated testing as well?
We are working both, but we are mainly driving for automation. We have a Go Ginkgo based automation. We have Python automation. We have Ansible scripts. So obviously, we are driving us to have as much automation as possible. Manual is just like an intermediate step till we develop.
Right. I mean, automation obviously is a more long-term solution, and I myself have to look into the E2E tests that Velero has. I don't know how comprehensive they are, but definitely there's a lot of benefit in installing Velero in a live cluster and doing a lot of tests with scripts, with code. For example, in Cloud Casa we use PyTest. All our these are like integration tests. These are not unit tests, right? So we install the agent, we run a lot to drive the test through Python and PyTest. And that works reasonably well. Yeah.
Same here. We have a PyTest Python-based framework, and we have also Go Ginkgo-based framework. I think OEDP it's open. Like if you go there to the OEDP repos, you will see our tests there, the testing area. So I think maybe some of not everything we are allowed to share totally like upstream for all our tests, but some tests you can see there. But I will be pushing more and more towards upstream.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I'm very interested in automated testing on this.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Daniel is also in Europe.
Right. I'm in Israel. We have a lot of quality engineers for working on Velero OEDP in Europe and Israel. We have people in India.
As far as I know, Tiger is the one that responsible for the developing new features for OADP operator. Tiger is an engineer in Red Hat.
Responsible for what?
OADP. So,
Yeah. He's one of the engineers, right? Tiger is here.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're the one that always party. So yeah.
Yeah. Always party.
Nice. So welcome everyone. Super happy to have you. Actually, I really like the excitement around the the performance testing and such. Super cool. So anyone else wants to introduce themselves, or I think we can hit the end button for today. Alrighty. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope to see you in 2 weeks. If you want to join the other one, the alternating one, it's going to be next week. So yeah, keep the good job going and see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Great call.
Bye.
Bye.